Wait, Viewie. Didn't you just release a video talking about how we don't deserve No Man's Sky because of the development team ultimately turning it into a fantastic, great game despite its launch? Alright, hold on. Before we get into that, I just wanted to say that yes, I do think No Man's Sky is a fantastic game. I've never been one to try and grind out games, but something about this game smacks me harder than whatever the movie about different shades of color has to offer. Besides BDSM, I mentioned that No Man's Sky got VR support a while back, and oh boy, have I been known to talk about some VR games. The idea of putting on a helmet, transporting yourself into a borderline different dimension only to have what I can describe as the dogfights Tom Cruise dreams of is basically the entire idea of science fiction. So No Man's Sky, a space exploration game in something as immersive as virtual reality? Well, I guess by this totally crazy coincidence I named this video like I was going to tell you it was bad or something. Alright, enough being artsy. Let's say you're me and you have a VR headset like the Index, and you also just so happen to have a game called No Man's Sky with VR support. You play through the tutorial normally to get a feel for the game, then decide it's time. You grab the Index off the wall, take the controllers and place them in your hands, and you get to the loading screen. And then you're at the loading screen. And you're still at the loading screen. Before you comment saying I need to play this game off an SSD instead since hard drives are too slow for my little gamer brain for my 16th 8-hour session of No Man's Sky, well, guess what, bozo? I keep all my VR games on an SSD since Alex needs more textures than KFC's chicken once you take the breading off. Despite using an SSD to load No Man's Sky, waiting for this game to load in VR is far worse than just waiting for it to load normally. I even tested it out beforehand, and let's just say, one definitely takes longer. To be fair, No Man's Sky is definitely a big game, so loading everything all at once while in VR faster than me saying, what the is taking so long is a bit too much to ask for. But nevertheless, at some point you're balancing between a lot to load and poor optimization. Obviously, a space exploration game is going to have a lot of moments where you're just exploring. While using the spaceship is fine for large exploration, it's at the times where you're searching for the millionth deposit of copper that's 1,000 units away because you've mined all the ones in your house, so you throw your keyboard. On-foot exploration in VR is like taking a pair of wheels and texturing it with sandpaper. Yeah, you're always at this constant speed where you'll be forced to travel in your starship, which if you're just starting off, have fun fueling those launch thrusters every 5 minutes, or just look forward and walk. Besides your character feeling like he just took a splash potion of slowness, if you want to interact with anything around you, it almost defeats the whole point of a VR mode. Want to bed down and touch the ground? What did you think this game was? A game with interaction? You're out of your play space. I thought that was going to be funnier than it was. For me personally, if I can't move my head in any sort of direction besides just left and right, I'm not playing this game in VR. Now, I'm not saying I want every little pebble to be interactable, but if you want to pick up a decently sized rock and throw it at my friend's head, I'd expect a game with this size to be able to accomplish that. Speaking of finding ore deposits and throwing rocks at friends, grinding in No Man's Sky is more time consuming than trying to find someone to grind on in VR chat.
What did he say?
A lot of the time you're going to need the resources necessary to continue on with whatever you're doing. But once you've taken the grind of this game and put it into a world where you're virtually inside of, good luck trying to accomplish literally anything. Again, slow movement speeds and all, this game is far more tedious in VR than on a desktop. Well, Viewie, I hear you saying, I can just get into my spaceship and fly around until I find what I want. And while, yeah, you can kind of do that, but you can't use the scanner to find deposits in either modes, and you're still forced to go out and actually mine them. I'm almost using this as a segue to flight controls, because this game is almost completely centered around your spaceship because what's this game about again? Flight controls normally are pretty alright, taking some getting used to, but generally not too bad. But in VR, good luck trying to angle your starship with some janky ass flight mechanics as you try to balance your speed to stay put so you don't crash your ship into some cobalt. Fucking nosedive right into the ground. And speaking on Tom Cruise's wet dreams again, and normally you can lock onto other spaceships and attack so you don't die. In VR, you have to line up each of your shots to hit something. Yeah, that sounds cool to actually fly a ship into dogfights, but you're still at an extreme disadvantage. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat this. No Man's Sky in VR runs like some hot ass. It's not the worst game I've seen in VR, but if an i7 and 3070 struggle to keep this game going, someone who has a weaker PC might not be able to play it at all. It mostly struggles after first loading, giving this weird visual distortion only visible in the headset. But once you've loaded in, it's not too bad. But boy, oh boy, if you go to other planets, aka what this game's all about, you're gonna stutter a lot. Alright, this game can't possibly be terrible in VR if you just play with some friends on the same planet and you do some dumb stuff. While you could just load in some public world and explore in VR, there isn't anything to do once you've explored all the publicly available world. You remember how I was saying you can't even bend down and throw a rock at your friend? Now, I'm not saying this game should have mini games or a social section like VR chat or rec room, but just give us something to actually do that you could only do in VR. So unless your PC is what I'd imagine Bill Gates' son to have, or unless you have a ton of patience and hand-eye coordination, I would not recommend No Man's Sky in VR. Again, play it normally because it's a good game. I literally have been grinding it non-stop, but don't play it in VR. Thank you all for watching. Honestly, at this point, I might as well just say thanks for 900. We're at like 840 something last time I checked. If you want to talk to me or others about VR, technology, or No Man's Sky, join the Discord below, Viewie's Hot Gamer Club. Again, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all soon.
Impossible.